Hi Benji, welcome back to Water Street Mission. We're glad to have you.
Thanks.
So as you already know, you've been accepted into the program. How are you settling in?
It's going alright. It's different, but it's okay.
Good. Everybody's welcomed you pretty well?
Yeah, the guys are pretty chill.
Good. We're glad to hear that. So basically, since you've been accepted into the program, we're just going to go through the goal that we discussed in your previous session. You said that basically you want, the main goal is you want permanent, safe housing. So we're going to look at what steps we can do and put into place to get you to that point. So we put it into terms of goal, objective, and tasks. So our goal we know is permanent housing. So objective is really time limited. So what do you have a goal in mind as far as like a schedule? How long do you want to? What's the cutoff point? What are you kind of thinking?
I mean, like, I'm thinking like as soon as possible, so not more than 6 months maybe.
Okay.
Absolutely no more than that.
Yep, that's reasonable. That's about our average time, and that's perfectly normal. Gives you time to find a job and whatever else you need at that point. So we'll look at tasks. So what are 3 things, for example, that you feel can help you get to that goal that you have?
Well, getting a job
Okay.
obviously is pretty necessary. Start paying some bills.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know other than that.
Okay, well, we'll start with that then. So with finding a job, you know what you're interested in, so that helps
Right.
you find which ones to apply for. So why don't we come up with a certain amount of job applications you'll apply a week?
Okay.
What are some thoughts that you have?
I mean, there's a bunch of places around that I could
Okay.
probably. I've not looked into it yet, but I probably should start looking at it. Yeah, I could fill out a couple a week.
Okay, so 2, 3,
I could probably do 5.
5? Oh, okay, good. Okay, so let's figure out another task then. So we've got the job part out of the way. What are some other things that might be hindering you from getting to your ultimate goal?
I mean, I'm gonna have to get a new car. My
Okay.
car is pretty old, so I guess finding a cheap one somewhere that I can fill in, because this one's gonna die pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So a more reliable car.
Right.
Got it. What would be a third one? I know we had briefly talked about temporary housing. Is that something you're still interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it'd be good to get out of here as soon as I can.
Okay.
So maybe an in-between house before I can afford
Sure.
my real place.
Perfect. Okay. So since you had mentioned that briefly before we last session, I had done some research on different websites that might be helpful for that. In case that was something you were still interested in.
Okay.
So there's websites like Zillow. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. There's another one I took note of, apartmentguide.com, things like that. And I also started looking at crime rates, so on and so forth. And I know we're in downtown Lancaster, and you don't have quite reliable transportation, so I was looking at different areas of that. Downtown Lancaster does seem to have a fairly high crime rate. But with you being a male, as long as you're minding your own business, making your presence known, things like that, I don't really think it'll be a big problem for you.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I'm not either. If we were a family, maybe we could try and figure out other options. But I think as far as location goes and getting back on your feet, that might be a good option. So I'll write those websites down for you, and if you want to look at those.
Yeah.
So then for that, do you want to have a goal of certain apartment or cheap housing applications that you want to do a month?
I mean, I don't know how many are out there, so
Yeah,
I don't know
okay.
what that would look like number-wise.
Okay,
But yeah, I'll give it a shot.
sure. So I found quite a few. They vary depending on the area. So is there maybe like a couple a month? Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
that sounds good.
Perfect. So, so just to recap. So your main goal is permanent safe housing situation. We have your objective as you're going to do it no later than 6 months. That's your cutoff point. And then your tasks are to apply for 5 jobs a week. You're going to work towards saving for a new car. And you're going to apply for like 2 housing or apartment applications a month, if not more, if you feel like you want to.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think
sound
so.
Good? Perfect. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to go through some strengths or needs and see what other areas we might be able to help guide you in and, kind of work together to help you with.
Yeah.
Again, with the main goal being the safe housing, but there might be something else. So I'm just going to say a category, and you just identify it as a strength or a need. And if it's a need, then we'll figure out a goal for that as well. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
All right. So housing we know is a need, and we've figured out a goal for that. Education, you said you already have your degree.
Yeah, I don't really think I want to go on for any more than
Okay.
that.
Transportation, you just said is not a need, but it's something you wanna get something more reliable.
Right.
Completely understand. Medically, what does that look like for you?
I don't have any medical issues right now.
Okay. All right. Do you have insurance at all in case something did come up?
I did with my job, but right now I don't have anything.
No? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll write that as a potential need, so that way we keep that in the back of our heads in case something came up. We'll know to, get you on track, and we'll start that soon. That way, with your job and stuff, depending on how it works out. Sometimes it takes a couple months for your job to allow you to use certain medical care. That way it'll be in place until that works for your job. Legally, do you have any needs? So that would be a strength. Okay, wonderful. Recreational time.
Right now I have a lot of time. So.
Okay, so strength.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Mental health.
I don't think I have any problems.
Okay, wonderful. And I know we had briefly talked about your alcohol consumption with the stress of everything that's going on and so on and so forth. And if you want to talk about that more, you're more than welcome. If there's anything that I might not remember, I know that you said you feel like you're fairly in control of it. And is there anything else that I didn't cover? Is that pretty accurate?
I've been going to AA regularly for a while, so I think it's good.
Wonderful. Okay. So then, as far as any substance abuse, what does that look like for you?
I'd say it's pretty well.
Good. Good. And I also know we talked about your family and the divorce and your kids, and what does your family situation look like right now as far as your kids go and your wife going through all of that?
Well, since I lost the house, Lisa's not as comfortable with me being around as much. I guess she's just kind of, since I lost the house, she's more suspicious that maybe there's other things happening. She doesn't trust me as much. So it's a little sticky right now. But, eventually I'd like to, if I have a place, I'd like to at least see the kids again sometimes.
So would you be interested in trying to figure out what that looks like from here on out? Like once you do complete your goal of safe housing, what that looks like as far as custody of your kids, would that be something that you're interested in?
Yeah.
Okay. So nothing you want to rush, but is that something you'd want to find out more information about?
Yeah, in the future when it's an option for me, yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. I know there's a couple attorneys in the area that would be willing to kind of give you some feedback and advice on that, so I'll make a note of that. As far as, again, with the relationships, do you feel like you're coping pretty well with it? Are there things you want to work through? How can we help you with that?
It's pretty hard, I'd say. Especially, I never really had any problems with Lisa. Like, she loves to take the kids. So that's pretty hard. Yeah.
Is that something because I'm not a counselor, but we do have counselors that come and volunteer that are professionals. They kind of volunteer with their time. Is that something you would want to get more information about? Is that something you're interested in, or maybe something else?
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Okay, wonderful. Like I said, they come and volunteer. They usually come about once or twice a week, and they'll meet with individuals here, and I've heard a lot of good feedback from them, so I think that would be good. Yeah. And I'll give you the paperwork for that. They'll go through some basic stuff just so they have a little background for you. Okay, and I know we talked briefly about social support with the guys that you play poker with and go to the bar with, and your brother, was it?
Yeah.
Your brother? Okay. So would you describe your support system, your social support, as a strength or a need?
I think it's pretty, with my brother and the guy, I think it's pretty strong right now.
Good. Okay, so is there any other strength or need that you can think of that you want to add to it?
Not really. At this point, I just need to get a job and get a house.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so I'll just recap, make sure I've got everything. That way I can serve you best. Okay, so our main goal is safe housing. Our objective being within 6 months, and the tasks being that you want to fill out about 5 applications for a job a week, because you know there's a pretty broad need for it. You want to work towards saving for a more reliable car, and maybe look for temporary housing for now with a couple applications a month or so.
Right.
And again, I'll write down those websites for you.
Okay.
So that'll help you kind of get a better perspective of those as well, get an idea of what's around, what areas are safest, if that's something that you want to consider. And we have no other needs. That's basically your main need, and we do have the counseling down, so I'll give you information for that, and also the attorney. Does that basically cover it? Did I miss anything?
I think that's everything.
Okay, wonderful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write, we have release forms. I'm sure you've heard of them before. Basically, it's just so you know, basically saying, I as your social worker am allowed to send information to the counselors and so on and so forth with your permission as your advocate. So does that sound okay to you?
Sure.
All right. So there's a company that goes by the acronym JLC. That's what we'll call it, just make it simpler. They will be your counseling company. They're the ones that come in. So can I get you just to look that over real quick and sign it for me, please?
Yeah, just sign here.
Yep. And you're welcome to read over as much as you'd like. Take your time. Thank you.
Okay.
And then the other one that we're going to do here, so as you were talking, I was trying to figure out who might best relate and help you as far as the attorneys in the area. And there's a man that I actually met at a conference not too long ago. His name's Charles Berkeley. He's an attorney. So I'm going to send you to his office, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'll send the information over. And again, I met him at a conference, and he kind of shared a little bit of his story. I feel like it would relate pretty well to you.
Okay.
And so I'm going to send you over there. And I'll call them first to, see if they have availability and make sure first. If you just want to sign this one as well, it's the same, again, just giving permission to send your information over.
Right.
Perfect, thank you. So, so we'll work on that, and basically from here on out, you'll just start working on your applications, and, again, if you have any questions, please feel free to call me. And I'll start looking into some of those apartments and stuff with you, and if you need help, I'm more than willing to help and figure it out alongside you, because that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
We'll probably meet in a couple weeks, see what your progress has been like, And we'll just go from there. How's that sound?
Sounds
All
good.
right. Well, thank you for coming. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you.
your time.
Yep.